Some would say the worst was 2008, 2009, and now we're beginning to see flickers of light in the horizon. Are we still in uncertain times?
A lot of the uncertainty that exists today really has to do with kind of the resetting of the world that took place in 2008 and 2009. If you ask yourself, why is the world so volatile today? Which I think in my career, it's not negative. I'd say there's positive growth. There's just a ton of uncertainty out there. Some of it has to do with there's clear winner. The growth coming out of the financial crisis is extremely uneven, with more technology, which means there's more winners and losers. There's more income inequality today than ever before. You had Federal Reserves around the world doing unprecedented things, from the US Federal Reserve to what Commissioner Draghi did last week. So we're in unprecedented territory in terms of fiscal, what central banks have done globally. You have a lack of coordination in terms of governance around the world. So at the time when you have all this volatility, governing countries turns out to be quite hard. And that's true in every corner of the world. And so you just have a number of different cross currents that I think actually emanate from the global financial crisis. So it's better than it was then, but we may be, when I'm talking to a GE team, I just say, look, slow growth and uncertainty forever. If it's ever 1997 again, we'll go party together, right? Or 2005, but don't count on it. I think we're going to be in this pattern of slow growth and uncertainty for a long time, and leaders just have to adjust to it.
In your opinion, what are the attributes of a good leader?
Oh, look, I mean, I think it's stunning competitiveness. So if you want to run a business today, you better have incredible will to win. You've got to be a learner. You have to know that I'm never going to be as dumb as I am today, and that tomorrow I'm going to learn something new, and the day after that I'm going to learn something new. Resilient. The great philosopher Mike Tyson had this great phrase that said, everybody has a strategy till they get punched in the nose, right? That's really true. The right combination of self-awareness and self-confidence. So if you're self-aware but not self-confident, you never get anything done. And if you're self-confident and not self-aware, nobody wants to work with you. You have to have the willingness to stand apart, right? At GE, 3 times a year I'll look at my leadership team and say, I have a good idea today. Let's do it my way. In other words, we've listened, we've had a great conversation, but now we have to make a decision. Let's be willing to take the consequences. Let's move, right? So you have to be willing to stand apart. Good risk judgment is key. And then the last thing, I think you have to be a giver and not a taker. Yeah. You have to be somebody that everybody, no one that works for you can ever doubt your intentions. I've done this job now for 13 years. I guarantee you there's a number of GE employees that maybe sometimes question my decisions. But there's nobody that's ever really questioned my intentions. Yeah. They know that I'm in it for the pure play. They know I do it because I love the company and that I want what's best for the company. And those are the things I think that develop leadership, that are attributes of leadership, particularly today.
I see you draw your inspiration from Mike Tyson. Who else? In your opinion,
in certain areas.
In your opinion, who are the best leaders of the modern day, be it in business or politics?
Again, I'm just giving you a reflection of the travels I've had and the people that I've met. I would say the best political leader that I've met in my tenure is Angela Merkel, who I've gotten to know, who over a long period of time in a difficult arena has been able to balance politics with moving her country generally in the right direction. So I'm quite a big fan of hers. I think in business, the people I admire today are kind of the Indian entrepreneurs, mainly because they move with speed and at scale. It's easy to be small and nimble. It's easy to be big and slow. I respect big and fast, right? So when you look at some of the Indian entrepreneurs that have grown their companies in the last, let's say 10 or 20 years, whether it's Wipro or Reliance or people like that. Those tend to be the people that I admire most. I'd say in the US, my favorite CEO is the CEO of American Express, Ken Chenault. I think he's fantastic. Has been a good friend, has done a great job for a long time. And then if you're going to have dinner, if you could buy a ticket to have dinner with just one person, I'd probably still pick Buffett. He's still. You have to go to some crappy place in Omaha, Nebraska. Believe me, it's not going to be a fancy place. But somebody that's just so completely interesting, such a good teacher about the world, things like that. And then I worked for a pretty good guy as well, so I always put him to the side because it's too much family. But those are some of the people I admire the most.
Somebody once said, "To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often."
Mm-hmm.
That someone is Sir Winston Churchill. In an environment of uncertainty, you have to adapt, readapt, change strategy. I want to draw from your experience, because when you took over as chairman of this company, 9/11 happened just a week after. That was the proverbial baptism of fire.
Mm-hmm. So I think both looking back in time, but also where we are today, I hadn't realized that was a Churchill quote, but I would quite agree with it. I don't think business leadership is the art of perfection. It's the art of kind of learning fast, making pivots, driving change, getting better every day. Learning and adapting to win is really key. The world's just too hard. There's too much competitiveness that if you think you're going to be right each and every day, it's a terrible mistake. The process tool we have inside the company today is called FastWorks. So basically what FastWorks is, we've been doing lean, which we learned from the Japanese in the 1980s. We've been doing lean inside GE for almost 30 years. What FastWorks is it combines lean with some Silicon Valley practices, where the notion is to get to market fast, get to market small, learn, test, pivot, make mistakes before they're too consequential, and keep going, keep adapting. So that is what we teach inside the company today, is this process called FastWorks. We have 5 beliefs that shape the culture of the company. Customers determine our success, right? Learn and adapt to win. Learn and adapt to win, right? Empower, instill confidence, deliver results in uncertain times. But one of the core principles of the GE beliefs is kind of this learn and adapt to win that we think is so critical. CEOs fail. I see it frequently, because look, these jobs are so humbling because you're just constantly in a negative feedback loop, because basically the team that works for me, they get all the great things, they get all the fun things. The CEO basically has to deal with all the mistakes and the problems. So I always see new CEOs that think their role in life is to be perfect. That gets bashed out of your head pretty quickly when you run a company. And you realize your role in life is to make the company better every day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out. Better, 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 better.